If the effective annual rates of interest is 6%, find the value in 2 years' time of €2,500 paid 5 years ago. So if we let this point be now, then 5 years ago was when the €2,500 was paid, and we're interested in the value 2 years from now. So we're going from -5 up as far as 2. So that's a difference of 7 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So T, which stands for time, is 2 minus -5, which is 7. And we're accumulating forward. So we're going to use our first formula from our list for equivalent value or present value. So we're growing forward by t years, so we're going to multiply by 1 plus I to the power of t. So our formula is P equals A times 1 plus I to the power of t. So we have 2,500, which is our A, multiplied by 1.06, which is our I. Our interest is 6% given in the question. And that's to the power of 7. Our time is 7. Our years are 7. And that works out to be €3,759.08. So in 2 years' time, the value of €2,500, which was paid 5 years ago, will be €3,759.08. So in 2 years' time, that's how much it will be worth. If the effective annual rate of interest is 6%, find the value in 3 years' time of €5,600 due in 8 years' time. So if this is now, then this is 3 years' time, 3 years from now, and this is 8 years' time from now. So we're working backwards to 3 years from now. So this is 8 years' time, so we're working backwards to end up at +3, which is 3 years' time from now. So we're discounting backwards. And the difference between 3 and 8 is 5. So T, which is time, is 8 minus 3, which is 5 years. So we're discounting backwards. We're going from 8 years' time back to 3 years' time. So we use our second formula. So to discount backwards by t years, we divide by 1 plus I to the power of t. So our formula is P equals A divided by 1 plus I to the power of t. So our A is going to be €5,600, and our 1 plus I is going to be 6%, or 1 plus 6%, which is 1.06, and our t, which is time, is going to be 5 years. And this gives us €4,184.65. So in 3 years' time, our €5,600 is going to be worth €4,184.65. If the effective annual rate of interest is 6%, find the value 2 years ago of €7,000 due in 4 years' time. So if this is now, then this is 2 years ago, and this is 4 years' time from now. So we're going from +4 back to -2. So it's a difference of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So T is 4 minus -2, which is 6. So we're discounting backwards. We're going back to 2 years ago. So we're going to use the second formula. Discount backwards by t years, divide by 1 plus I to the power of t. Our formula is P equals A divided by 1 plus I to the power of t. So our A is going to be €7,000. We still have 6%. All 3 questions so far have used the same interest rate. So we have 1 plus I becomes 1.06. And our T, which is time, is 6 years, because we're going back by 6 years. And we end up with €4,934.72. So 2 years ago, the value of €7,000, which is due in 4 years' time, was €4,934.72. In the next example, the effective annual rate of interest is now 4.5%. Part 1. Find the value in 4 years' time of €2,400 paid 2 years ago. So if this is now, then this is 2 years ago, and this is in 4 years' time. So we're going from -2 up as far as +4. So this is our focal point. So the difference between -2 and 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So our time is 4 minus -2, which is 6. So we're accumulating forward. We're going from 2 years ago to +4 years. So 4 years' time from now. So we're using our first formula. We're growing forward by t years, so we're multiplying by 1 plus I to the power t. So our formula is P equals A times 1 plus I to the power t. Our A is 2,400. Our 1 plus I is going to be 1.045. We got 4.5% from the question. And the t is 6 years, because we're going forward by 6 years. Into the calculator, we get €3,125.42. So in 4 years' time, the value will be €3,125.42. If the effective annual rate of interest is 4.5%, find the value 3 years ago of €8,000 due in 4 years' time. So if this is now, this is 3 years ago, and if this is now, this is 4 years' time from now. So we're working backwards to 3 years ago. And we're going backwards by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So t time is 4 minus -3, which is 7 years. We're discounting backwards. We're going back to -3 years ago. So we use our second formula. We discount backwards by t years. We're going to divide by 1 plus I to the power t. So p is equal to A divided by 1 plus I to the power of t. A is €8,000. 1 plus I is the same as the last question, 1.045, because our interest rate is 4.5%. And the t is time, which is 7 years. And we end up with €5,878.63. So 3 years ago, our value was €5,878.63. The effective annual rate of interest is 4.5%. Find the value 4 years ago of €12,000 paid 8 years ago. So if this is now, this is 4 years ago, and this is 8 years ago. So we're going from -8 to -4, so we're going forward by 4 years. So t is -4 minus -8, which is 4, so we're accumulating forward. So this is our focal date. So we're going forward, so we use this formula. We grow forward by t years, we multiply by 1 plus I to the power t. Our formula is P equals A plus 1 plus I to the power t. So the A is €12,000. The 1 plus I is the same as the last two examples, 1.045, because we have 4.5% interest. And the t is time, which is 4 years. We're going forward by 4 years. So we get €14,310.22. So the value 4 years ago was €14,310.22. So for each of these questions, the easiest way to start them off was to draw a number line to decide when was now and when were the years that we were talking about. And the main thing you have to figure out is, are you going forwards or are you going backwards? If you're moving forward, you're going to multiply by 1 plus I to the power t. And if you're going backwards, you're going to divide by 1 plus I to the power t. Then it's just a case of subbing in your values. An investment company has the option of buying a 20% share of a project for €180,000. The project is projected to make a profit of €100,000 in 1 year's time, €250,000 in 2 years' time, €400,000 in 3 years' time, and €500,000 in 4 years' time. Taking the annual rate of interest to be 6%, part 1, find the present value of all the projected profits of the project. So, since in each case we were given future values, so the €100,000 is what it's worth in 1 year's time, so that 1 year is into the future. The €250,000 is what it's worth in 2 years' time, again that's into the future. The €400,000 is what it's worth in 3 years' time. That's into the future. And the €500,000 is what it's worth in 4 years' time. Again, that's into the future. So to work out what each of these is worth now, we have to work backwards. So we're going to discount backwards, so we're going to divide. So we're going to use this formula to work out each of the present values. So to work out the present value of €100,000. So this is 1 year, the value in 1 year's time. So if this is now, and this is 1 year from now, we're working backwards to the focal date, which is now. So we're going to use this formula. So the A is €100,000. The I is 0.06. So that's going to be the interest for each value. And the T is going to be 1. So 1 year. So into the calculator and we get €94,339.62. For the €250,000, this is the value in 2 years' time. So if this is now, and this is 2 years from now, we're working backwards to now, the focal date. So that's again why we use this formula. So we have 250,000 divided by 1.06 to the power of 2 years. And that gives us €222,499.11. For the 400,000, that's the value in 3 years' time. So if this is now, and this is 3 years from now, we're working backwards to now. So again, we're using this formula. 400,000 divided by 1.06 to the power of 3. We're working backwards by 3 years. That gives us €335,847.77. And for the 500,000, this is the value in 4 years' time. So if this is now, and this is 4 years from now, we're working backwards to the present value. So again, we're using this formula, so we're dividing. So 500,000 divided by 1.06 to the power of 4, because it's 4 years we're working backwards from. And we end up with €396,046.83. Then we add our 4 values together, and we get €1,048,733.27. So this is the present value of all the projected profits of the project. Part 2. Determine if the company should invest in the project. So they have the option of buying a 20% share in the profit for €180,000. So remember from part 1 we worked out that the total of the projected profits is €1,048,733.27. So we're going to get 20% of the total. So 20% of this, and it is €209,746.65. So if you've bought a 20% share, and this is the profits, then 20% of those profits is this. So this is how much you'd be entitled to. The present value of the proposed investment is €180,000. So you have to pay €180,000 to get the 20%, to get the €209,746.65. If the company invests, then the NPV, the net present value, will be this minus this, which leaves us with €29,746.65. As this is positive, the company should invest in the project. If this had been a negative value, then the company should not invest. But since it's positive, they should invest. It's a good deal.